with sour cream.
You want to know why you had the chills, Manny? It wasn't the vaccine.
And he almost went into a food coma.
Yeah, no kidding.
All that? What are you kidding me? That's for a couple of days. I don't go anywhere.
Manny, pierogi
The
place.
live stream has started, just so everyone knows.
Fairfield on 46.
Okay.
Wow, that's an old telephone ring.
Who's got the old? Hello.
That's behind my left shoulder.
Does it work with a crank?
No, that's a push button. That's a dial one. I got that years ago. We got the wireless in the other rooms. This is for special effects. Never use it.
John, his phone number is Murray Hill 357.
Actually, it's President 8814 from Brooklyn. Number my child phone number.
In historic Morristown, it was Jefferson 8.
Mine is President 8814. I'll never forget it.
Of course, I don't want to tell you guys, I remember the day when there was no dial on the phone. Just picked it up and waited for the operator.
Switchboard, right? So how was Mr. Edison?
Watch it, Manny. You're not far behind.
Yeah.
We're live streaming and recording, Joe. So whenever we hit 6:30, we're good to go.
I don't see Mr. Kelly there, Christy. Has he called you? I mean, he's there, but I don't see his video.
No, I haven't gotten a phone call.
Because I'm on.
There he is.
There he is. All right, it's 6:30. I'm calling the meeting to order. Please join me for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag,
To the flag.
of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with justice for all. Liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence to remember the services and sacrifices of the armed service members who protect our nation and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods.
Mr. Jackson, can I add somebody, please?
Absolutely, you're recognized.
I just want everybody to know we had a member in the late Telemark community, Carl Abrahamson, who had passed away suddenly on February 17th. Carl was a coach for football and baseball within the township. His son and daughter were heavily active in recreation activities with sports. And he also was a master craftsman in carpentry and had a phenomenal talent along with his 3 other brothers, as well as his dad. He had donated a lot of time to the Lake Telemark community, helped rebuild some capital improvements for the Lake Telemark clubhouse. And he's been a resident of Rockaway Township, Telemark area since 1965. So many of you may know him that have had children that are the same age as his children and seen them coaching, and just a remembrance of everything that he's done and what he participated in. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Here.
Councilmember Quinn,
Here.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Here.
Councilmember Kritz,
Here.
Councilmember Salberg,
Here.
Councilmember Brooks,
Here.
Councilmember Noon,
Here.
Vice President Sackett,
Here.
President Jackson.
Here, we have a quorum. Please be advised that all electronic remote meetings of the Township Council held on WebEx are recorded. All members of the public will be provided the opportunity to speak during any public hearing or open to the public sections of the meeting. The Township Clerk will unmute each member of the public and ask if they wish to speak. As per Rockaway Township Code 2-5.14, any person desiring to address the council shall first seek recognition by the presiding officer and shall, upon recognition by the chair, that the person shall give their name and address for the record. Unless further time is granted by the council, they shall limit their statement to 5 minutes. Statements shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. A councilman shall not direct any questions to a speaker addressing the council except through the presiding officer. In addition to speaking on the record during council meetings, members of the public may submit questions and comments to the council by emailing questions@rockawaytownship.org by the end of the open to the public session. This meeting was advertised in the Daily Record and the Star Ledger, the official newspapers for the Township of Rockaway, on January 9th, 2021. Notice was posted on the official bulletin boards of Rockaway Township. Before we get into the next agenda item, late today, and I apologize that it was sent out late today, I had Ms. Clipperton send out a memo to the rest of the council, and I wanted to read through the memo so the public was aware of what I sent out. As part of my responsibility as council president, I'm continually reviewing the way the council conducts its business at the council meetings in order to optimize our efficiency and productivity. In that regard, I believe there are 2 areas we can improve our way of doing business. These concern our handling of meeting minutes and defining the areas of discussion set forth in meeting agendas. Council minutes have become inappropriately multi-page documents that resemble transcripts of what went on in each council meeting. Not only is this approach far beyond what is required to satisfy legal requirements, but it has also turned the preparation of the minutes by the clerk and deputy clerk into an overbearing, time-consuming process, which could be put to better use. The review of the proposed minutes by council members, administration, and staff has also increased. In addition, the narrative approach has caused the contents of the minutes to become a source of unnecessary argument at council meetings. As such, in my view, narrative minutes have resulted in unnecessary consumption of time and disrupt the real business of the council. This is especially evident when it's considered that all of our meetings are recorded in more than one medium. To correct this situation, I've instructed the clerk, effective immediately, to maintain our minutes appropriately, but in substantially reduced form. Moreover, once a motion and a second to approve minutes has been made, there shall be no discussion of their content, either before or after the vote. The next subject to address our agenda and the appropriate subject matter for each category. As you know, our agenda is controlled by section 2-5.7 of the Administrative Code. That same code section gives the council president the authority to change the order of business as necessary. Also, section 2-5.1 of the Administrative Code gives the council president control over the conduct of the council's business at any meeting. At our meeting on February 9th, I consolidated new business, old business, and reports into a single unit, giving each council member the opportunity to address all 3 areas. In the opinion of the council members and others whom I've spoken with, This worked well. I intend to continue that practice at successive meetings with a total time limit of 5 minutes for each council member. That should be more than sufficient time. Additional time may be provided upon request of the presiding officer, who shall have absolute discretion in granting the extra time or not. Even though those sections of our agenda will be consolidated, going forward, the requirements for council discussion in each foregoing categories of discussion shall be as follows. Old business. This category is defined as prior official incomplete business of the council and acting on ordinances, resolutions, or motions. New business. This category is defined as matters that were on the current agenda or matters that are likely to be addressed in an upcoming meeting. Again, this category shall include official business directly related to the council's legislative and/or spending functions. Council reports. This category is defined as council members relating to publicly what they have been doing as a member of the council, in addition to their attendance at council meetings, participation in council committees, participation in outside activities related to their office, etc. Finally, I need to discuss the very important issue of conduct at council meetings. As far as I'm concerned, our meeting of February 9th, 2021, and our budget meetings represented a low point in council meetings since I became council president in January 2020. All members of the council must abide by the rules for meetings set in our administrative code. Those rules are simple and were created to promote the orderly, civil, and timely conduct of the council's business. The continual disruption of our council cannot be tolerated. I will not permit this council be dragged back to the days of behavior of prior councils which brought disrespect to the council, the administration, and the township. More importantly, improper conduct at council meetings prevents us from doing our business in an orderly and timely fashion. I'm sure that we all want to return to in-person meetings as soon as possible, as soon as it is safe to do so. We all recognize that the remote meetings are not ideal. However, for as long as we continue to meet remotely and to make our remote meetings as orderly as possible, I've asked the clerk to mute all council members who have not been recognized by the chair. Council members who wish to be recognized may unmute for that purpose alone. Last but not least, I've attached the following sections of our administrative code, and I ask that all council members review each section and follow the rules and procedures that are stated. Yeah, and then I listed the codes. So I just wanted the public to hear that the council members had gotten this. So moving forward,
Council President,
you're not recognized. Moving forward, the next
Can I be
agenda item is number 6, 2021 proposed budget legal services.
can I be recognized, Council President?
You're not recognized. I wanted to recognize our township attorney, Mr. Yachifano, and ask him if he can provide any insight.
Thank you, Council President. In terms of any potential increase to the legal budget, the analysis that, excuse me, the analysis is a real straightforward analysis. It is absolutely not necessary to discuss individual cases, and I will not discuss those. There are two components. The first component is pending litigation. When I refer to pending litigation, I'm referring to active cases. Currently, we have a total of 6 active lawsuits pending against the township. 5 of those are of one kind, and one of the cases is a separate civil damages case resulting from a fatal accident on Green Pond Road. I should note at this point that even the case of litigation that is handled by outside counsel, our office frequently becomes involved in terms of providing what I'm going to call inside information, documents from the township, contacts back and forth with township officials and staff. So they all represent some workload for the township attorney's office. This is an unprecedented amount of litigation in a very, very short time. And I should add to that rota of cases the fact that we all know the Morris Commons litigation is continuing to go forward. We had hoped that it would have resolved last month. There were some procedural issues that are raised. Now I believe that that case is hopefully going to resolve in April or May, but there's no guarantee that that litigation, which has been very time consuming and costly for the township, will be gone, and it will still occupy our legal horizon for a while. So the proliferation of litigation at an unanticipated rate is the negative factor. There is a good part to the increase of the legal budget. Last year and this year, through the cooperation of the mayor and this council, we have had an unprecedented period of productive activity for the township through the cooperative interaction of the mayor and council. This has resulted in a lot of very good things over a relatively short period of time after a longer period of relative inactivity. I cite by way of example the Peterson Field project, the initiation of many new ordinances, the code review, many, many things. There are more things on the horizon, but with any increase in good legal work or good things that the council and the mayor have managed to accomplish over the last 14, 15 months, there comes the necessary legal attachment to that. So, you know, whatever we do, it requires our involvement, occasionally requires the involvement of outside counsel and outside professionals, if it's a technical area of the law. But in short, we have more work and we've been doing more work than we've ever done before. And most of it, thankfully, has been very beneficial to the township and its residents. Cooperation and progress come with some expense attached, but that pretty much explains why we feel the legal budget should be added to in some increment.
Do you have, do you have any concerns around conflict or anything if we discuss this any further?
Well, I mean, discussing a legal budget is a matter obviously for the consideration of the full council. Certainly, Mr. Kelly has an interest in 5 of the 6 cases that are still pending. I think that would represent a obvious and significant conflict, but I'm the first to point out that the fact that a member of the council has a conflict in discussing the legal budget does not prevent them from participating in the discussion. It simply is an indication they would persist in participating in a discussion with the admonition that an obvious conflict exists. I know this may be hard to believe, but I say that as much for Mr. Kelly's protection in terms of future conflict liability as I do to advise the council of what I believe is an obvious conflict. But that's Mr. Kelly's decision to make.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Gachafano?
I do.
Go ahead. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Gachafano, with regard to some of the cases that we have here, are you including like anything with arbitration, any additional investigations, any planning board of adjustments, matters that are taking place, any Oprah cases that might be pending out there from whether 2020 into 2021?
I don't know.
Are you including all of them, or is that only 6 total?
I don't know what you mean by Oprah cases, Mr. Kelly. Do you mean Oprah requests or Oprah litigation?
Well, I would imagine since we're talking about litigation, I'd be talking about litigation.
Okay, well, you yourself are the plaintiff in at least 2 Oprah cases right now.
Are there any other ones?
Not in litigation, no.
Are there any that are pending litigation, potential litigation?
I don't have a crystal ball.
So you don't know. Now, Mr. Gachafano, we had a budget. If you, I don't know, did you have an opportunity to review the budget that was made on the 14th of January of this year?
Briefly.
And as of the 14th of January, has there been any additional litigation that's added since that budget, and you reviewed it apparently after it was created?
If I recall correctly, at least one of your lawsuits was filed on January 25th. The prior lawsuit, which you filed was shortly before that, but I don't know if it was before or after the 14th.
It was before, but you do recall that there's only the 25th that came in after the 14th. Now, with that being said, Mr. Iatrofano, legal was requested only $360,000 in that budget line. And then it was approved to be at $300,000. So at that time, you wanted to the administration wanted to reduce the legal budget from 360 to 300, which of course, going through the budget process on February 9th, 11th, and the 16th, the council chose by vote to close that tab with where it was at. It wasn't until Mr. Salberg later came in to raise the issue about raising it.
What's your question, Mr. Kelly?
But if I have the floor, and I'll get to that point. Cases that you're discussing about some of these litigation that's pending, are any of them covered by insurance?
Well, first, let me correct a couple of statements you made. The budget was done in November, okay? So that would include just about all of the lawsuits, at least 4 of the lawsuits which you filed since then. The one action that would relate to you that was before that would be you and Mr. Schmidt's appeal of the prior decision of Judge Mankiewicz.
Which is an appeal process, appealing a trial judge's decision, right? It's not suing the town.
Well, it resulted from the suit against the town, Mr. Kelly.
Right. And the town lost that suit. You had a meeting voided and all the appointments and action had to be taking place and being done over because of your legal advice.
If the town lost, Mr. Kelly, what are you appealing?
There's a section of that which we're appealing under municipal vacancy law, which you're fully aware of. And it's the judge's decision of that.
You had questions,
Mr. Iatrofano.
Mr. Kelly, is this a speech or you have questions?
Mr. Iatrofano, here, listen, I know you don't like this, but I am a component of the council, which is a client of yours. You're going to treat me with respect and you're going to listen.
The client,
you don't have to answer it. You're selected
council.
council.
Is not the client, Mr. Kelly. The town is the client.
The town and the council, well, you know what? We're going to be addressing that shortly in another matter. But Mr. Iatrofano, how many of those cases are being covered by insurance to the joint insurance fund?
Of the 6 matters, 3.
3 of them. And those 2 cases that you're referencing to that were created after the budget, are those 2 cases covered by the joint insurance fund?
Once again, Mr. Kelly, the budget was put together in November.
I know that.
All of the cases which I referred to came in after the budget was put together.
Mr. Iatrofano, are any of those cases that are after that budget was put together? Because we got the budget on the 14th of January, I believe, as it's stated even in the budget book itself. So the cases that you keep relating to, and then here you are telling everybody here, members of the public as well as the council, that you have involvement in all these cases, which you're going to benefit from.
All right, Mr. Kelly, your 5 minutes is up. You're no longer recognized. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, Council President.
Go ahead, Mr. Salberg, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I won't need that. I actually have a question for the attorney. Councilman Kelly mentioned, I guess somehow it's okay that some of our costs are going to be covered by insurance. I assume we pay premiums into this insurance?
You do. Carl would probably be better to comment on the mechanics of how this works. My understanding, well, first of all, even though cases are being handled by outside counsel, we generally play a significant role in assisting outside counsel handling cases. So that's number one. Number two, as most people know, the number of claims filed in any liability insurance situation can result in an enhanced underwriting analysis, which increases your premiums.
That's what I want to know is, do all of these times that we're relying on this insurance, does it have a negative impact on our premiums?
And we also have deductibles, which Pat can probably tell you about better than I can.
Any other questions,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Salberg?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Any other members of the council have question?
Council President, I'd just like to take up some of the time of others that
No, you're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. You had your 5 minutes and you spoke for 5 minutes. You're done with this
You didn't let
section.
me
So
complete the thought,
based
though.
on my
May I say
conversation,
something? May I say something?
who's speaking?
Carl Perone.
Carl, you can be recognized.
Yeah, there are a couple of cases right now that are being handled from a defense standpoint by a JIF assigned attorney who I have been assisting personally with respect to information that they need. It just doesn't, it's not something that's common to them in terms of what's going on in the township, and they're always asking for documents, et cetera. But in addition, if Mr. Kelly were to win his civil rights cases, the cases that are being defended under what's called a reservation of rights. And what that means is, if in fact Mr. Kelly were to win a judgment, the township would have to pay that money out of public funds. Just so you know that. I don't think the full breadth of what is being covered by the insurance policy is understood. It's obvious based on what he said. Mr. Kelly doesn't understand it. I'm not sure if anyone else has even brought it to
Mr. Kelly, you're not
attention.
recognized. Please be quiet.
Because if in fact there's a
Perone,
difference between defense costs and indemnity
okay.
costs.
You understand?
So I just wanted you to know that because
I appreciate that.
It's not being covered by insurance is the point.
Okay. All right. Based on the conversations, based on what I've seen, and the discussion we've had, I'd like to make a motion. Mrs. Seeger, can you, what's the line item for legal services?
It is 0120-155-028.
0120-155-028. I make a motion to raise the budget in account 0120-155-028 by $50,000.
What page is that?
Would anybody like to second that motion?
I'll second that.
All right, Mr. Salberg.
Discussion on that, Council President?
No. So clerk, you can take the roll call.
Council President Jackson, I have a question.
You were in the middle of a motion and a roll call.
Yeah. Before we vote, I will make you aware, I am going to ask Mrs. Seeger and Ms. Palmieri to find that money in the budget and not increase taxpayer dollars. So that's part of it. But did you have a question, Mr. Brooks?
I would just actually like legal counsel's advice on something, if possible.
Well, we're in the middle of the motion now. I didn't realize you had a question earlier.
Well, it's in regard to the vote. That's all.
Go ahead.
The question I have is, since I'm part of one of the legal litigations, I wanted to know, do I have advisement to vote on this, or should I abstain because of my involvement?
When you say you're part of one of the cases, could you be more specific?
Well, yeah, the one case that Mr. Kelly's appealing involves Mr. Brooks' appointment.
Correct.
That's correct. That's correct. As I told Mr. Kelly, Councilman, that's an assessment that you have to make on your own. There is a potential for conflict there, since a portion of any money spent this year are obviously going to relate to that case. Again, it's got to be your election. That's all I can really say.
Okay, thank you. So I will continue to probably do what I've been doing. Thank you.
Okay, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Abstain.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Abstain.
Councilmember Noon,
Yeah.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Abstain. That's 3 abstentions, 6 yeses. The motion carries. Mrs. Seeger, Ms. Palmieri, as I mentioned, I'd like you to find that money so we're not increasing taxpayer dollars by any amount for this in other places in the budget.
All right, Lisa and I will talk while you're going through the rest of the meeting.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have the January 26, 2021 regular meeting, the January 26, 2021 closed session, the February 9th, 2021 regular meeting, the February 9th, 2021 budget meeting, the February 11th, 2021 budget meeting, and the February 16th, 2021 budget meeting. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as
And I'll
well.
second it.
Okay. Clerk, you can take the roll call?
Discussion, Council President, on the minutes?
No. Clerk, you can take the roll call?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Fritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. The meeting minutes are approved. Next item is number 8, ordinances to adopt. We have O-21-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 25 entitled Stormwater Control of the General Ordinance of the Township of Rockaway. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second it.
Okay, looks like we have 4 people on the phone. Ms. Clipperton, can you go through and?
Patricia Degnan,
No comment.
Ron Cleland.
No comment.
I have someone signed in as TT. William Degnan,
No comment.
and that's it, Council President.
Okay, 5 minutes of council discussion. Anybody have anything? Mr. Kelly, you can unmute yourself. You can have 5 minutes to speak.
I said, I'm just trying to find something in the ordinance here that I had a question on that I had circled. So if there's somebody else before me, I would wish that they can go.
Doesn't look like it.
Just 1 second then, please.
Yeah, take your time.
And it's a question for Mrs. Ferrante.
Council President,
Yes.
you might want to ask me when you had it open to the public if I had any questions.
We
For the
didn't do
record?
it to the public yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't think- No, yeah, no. It's coming up. I will.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you did, though. You had the 4 people online.
that was for discussion on this ordinance.
Oh, just the ordinance? Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Seeger, were there any emails relevant to this ordinance that should be read?
No, Miss Clipperton.
Okay, thank you.
I have it on
For
here,
Mr. Kelly?
Council President.
I'm
Are
sorry?
you guys still there?
Yeah, did you find what you were looking for?
I did. Mrs. Ferrante, we have it on, it's going to be section D. It's variance and exemption from safety standards. And I'll just read it. It says a variance or exemption from the safety standards for stormwater management. BMPs may be granted upon written findings by the municipality that a variance or exemption will not constitute a threat to public safety. Could you give me an example or a definition of public safety?
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can.
All right. The definition of public safety?
Well, when we talk about, we're talking about a variance or an exemption. So an individual that's going through this procedure under stormwater management may seek a variance of some sort or a potential exemption.
Right.
Maybe they have a pre-existing condition here that may be non-conforming to this ordinance, may not pose a threat of public safety, what would that actually be? Like water that would go onto a roadway and not freeze? A flooding of a neighboring property? What would be a good example of public safety?
It's my understanding that any variance from this ordinance needs approval from DEP. If there is a condition, like you suggested, that there's no other opportunity to handle stormwater on site, and it would create a public safety issue, then we would apply to DEP. We would reach out to DEP for that variance from this ordinance. I don't believe we have the local authority to do that.
And the Soil Conservation District, are they also involved with that as well, or is it just DEP?
They could be along with it. However, this is a standalone ordinance. This is authored and administrated by the regulations under DEP.
So if we had somebody that had a vast amount of impervious coverage, had a septic that was there, and a smaller substandard lot, and couldn't put some type of a stormwater management plan together to handle roof of rain or whatever the case may be, this is really the component that would allow them to seek a variance or an exemption?
That would have to be handled at our Board of Adjustment. So a variance from this ordinance would be heard at the Board of Adjustment.
But it would still have to have an approval from DEP before we even submit it for a, let's say, for instance, a person goes for a variance that on this particular portion of our stormwater management, we would still need to have DEP approval, even if the board approved it.
Not necessarily. It would be just like all approvals at the board. It would be subject to
State, municipality, and then a local, I mean county?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Ordinance is adopted. Next is O-21-03, an ordinance fixing the salaries of various officials and contractual employees of the Township of Rockaway in the County of Morris. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
there's Mr. Kritz. Clerk, you can have public discussion.
I have call-in user 3. Call-in user 3.
It's Lisa Salberg. I can't get on the WebEx, just so you know. I have no comment.
Okay. Patricia Degnan,
No comment.
Patrick Egan,
No comment, thank you.
Ron Cleland, T. William Degnan,
No comment.
That's it.
yes.
Okay, any council discussion? Okay, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Abstain. That's not 8 yeses, 1 abstention. Ordinance is adopted. Next is O-21-04. An
I have a
ordinance.
motion, Council President.
Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
On this ordinance here, and maybe Mr. Yatrafano, if I want to make a motion with regards to this ordinance, do I make a motion beforehand to make any adjustments? Or do I have to wait till there's a first and a second and then we can have public discussion?
My recommendation would be that you make any motion you choose to make now before the ordinance is otherwise moved for adoption.
Thank you. I make a motion, I have a couple of motions, Council President. One is I make a motion to eliminate the Director of Public Safety line, which states the annual salary of $50,000 to $125,000. As you are aware, the mayor.
All right, that's your motion. Does anybody want to second that motion?
I'm not done with the motion, Council President.
That's the motion. That's a motion. No, there's no
my motion.
There's
So
no
I'm sorry.
narration. That's your motion.
You don't
That's
decide my
one
motion.
That's one motion. Does
I'm not
anybody want to
completed with
second
the
the
motion, Council President?
Does anybody want to second that motion? Okay, go on to your next motion, Mr. Kelly.
My second motion is we have the municipal clerk. We have the range between 40,000 and 75,000. I make a motion to increase the maximum annual salary to 80,000.
Anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Okay, any discussion?
I'll have some discussion.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
The reason why I'm bringing this up in regards to the municipal clerk, as we all know, we couldn't do the clerk's job of 1 day of her work within a 1 week. And I was very disappointed in Mr. Cricks that wanted to give himself a raise, as well as the mayor and the council president, and then raising almost a little over $30,000. When as a council, we don't even come close to doing the work of our municipal clerk. She was afforded to have a $5,000 increase for receiving her certificate.
Mr. Kelly, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Am I unmuted?
Yep, you're unmuted.
Have I been muted the whole entire
Nope,
time?
you mentioned about how we could never do it. The clerk does in 1 day. I heard all that.
So how did I get muted?
I have no idea.
So with that being said, Mr. Critz wanted to raise the salaries of himself, you, as well as the mayor, which was over $30,000 collectively. And I don't understand why we can't bring the clerk into an area of where she would be in the same range of $80,000 as other clerks that are in smaller municipalities and do less work. So I think that we should really look at it. Obviously, Mrs. Clipperton has gone above and beyond. She's worked extremely late hours, does not get overtime. She deals with everything that's there. She does the minutes appropriately. She handles Oprah requests accordingly when she can. And then she does all the other tasks. I mean, she's an octopus when it comes to the tasks that she does on a daily basis. And I don't think it's funny, Council President, but
I just like the word to use the word octopus. That would make me laugh.
Yeah, I know. It's just a joke that you had a while ago when it comes to octopus.
Yeah.
That's real funny. But with that being said, on a serious note, here you want to raise legal for the council, legal counsel, which is unbelievable. And you won't really reduce anything in the township budget, but yet you won't give somebody that well-deserved a $5,000 increase. And at least Mr. Brooks recognized that, and I do appreciate that.
Anybody else have any comments?
I have a couple.
President.
Mr. Sackett, you can be recognized next.
Hey, just wondering, I have no problem increasing it to 80,000. I'm wondering if Kelly does have a neighboring town example. You'd say other town doing well by setting an example tonight.
I will, Mr. Sackett, if I can answer Mr. Sackett's question.
Sure, go ahead.
We lost our deputy clerk from Rockaway Township that went to Mount Arlington. And maybe, Ms. Clipperton, do you know what the price of the salary is for Mount Arlington, which is a much smaller municipality?
No, I don't know offhand.
It's 80,000. An individual that just received it only
Is there a
has a
deputy
small amount
clerk
of
in Mount
time.
Arlington? Mr. Kelly, is there a deputy clerk in Mount Arlington?
That I don't know, but we're dealing with a municipal clerk and we're talking about a small municipality.
All right. All right. Mr. Critch, you had a question? Or do you
Yeah.
want?
Yeah,
Go
so, and again, just for some clarifying points there, when we bring up things in the budget meeting and, motions to increase, salaries, it's never, the motion was not to increase any salaries at the expense of the clerk or anybody else. And I hate that this is now becoming a referendum on the job we think that Ms. Clipperton is doing. And I don't think anybody here would disagree that she's doing a great job. But that's my, and Mr. Sackett kind of hit upon the same question. And again, this is not, anything on Ms. Clipperton, but the other towns that we're referencing, do they have deputy clerks, or is their clerk handling all of that? And
Arlington does have a deputy clerk.
Council
Whatever.
President.
Mr. Kelly, I have no faith in anything you say about any of this. So there's a motion on the table that's been seconded to increase the clerk's range from 40,000 to 80,000. It's been raised by Mr. Kelly, second by Mr. Brooks. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Excuse me. The motion was incorrectly stated, I believe. He said from 40,000 to 80,000.
The range, yes.
Okay, but, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. You wanted to raise from 75 to 80.
Correct.
But I get what you're saying. I'm sorry. I'll take it back.
Go ahead, Ms. Clipper. Mr. Kelly voted yes. Go ahead to the next.
Councilmember Quinn,
No.
Councilmember Friedlander,
No.
Councilmember Kritz,
no,
Councilmember Stauberg,
No.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
No.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
No, that's 3 yeses and 6 noes. The motion does not carry. Next is ordinance O-21-04, an ordinance fixing the salaries of various officials and exempt employees of the Township of Rockaway and the County of Morris.
We're still doing that, Mr. Jackson. I have a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Jackson, we're on that ordinance right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing is here, we have the council president. I want to reduce the council president maximum salary to 7,200.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, what other motions do you have, Mr. Kelly?
I have another motion to reduce a council member's maximum annual salary to 5,300.
Anybody want to second that? Go ahead. What's your next motion, Mr. Kelly?
My next motion is to have the mayor's maximum annual salary reduced from $15,000 to $10,000.
Anybody want to second that? What's your next motion, Mr. Kelly?
You know what? I don't have another one on this.
Okay,
particular
so
ordinance.
O-21-04, an ordinance fixing salaries. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second that.
Okay,
Was that Councilmember Stauberg?
yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelly?
Nope, we gotta have discussion. Go through the
Oh,
public.
I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. Yep, that's okay. A lot going on.
Al Cerula? Lisa Salberg?
Go ahead.
Patricia Degnan,
No comment, thank you.
Patrick Egan,
You do a great job, but no comment.
Ron Cleveland, TT, William Degnan,
88 Valley View Drive. A certain member of this council continuously attacks the township clerk, members of this council, the mayor, police, and other officials
All right.
in this community. We have a field in Peterson Field.
Hey, Mr. Degnan, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. So commenting right now is just on this ordinance we're discussing. You'll have your 5 minutes to discuss whatever you want and open to the public shortly, okay?
On this ordinance, I believe that it should stay as the budget committee suggested. There should be no amendments to this.
Okay.
Ms. Clipperton does yeoman's work in this town, and she has my respect.
Thank you. All right, I'll allow, that's it, right, Ms. Clipperton?
let me double check.
I don't
Yes.
think anybody else, yeah. I'll allow 5 minutes of council discussion.
I got discussion.
Go ahead.
When it comes to these ordinances that are here, you know, we have some changes that are taking place. This ordinance was obviously written before the beginning of the budget meetings that we had on the 9th, the 11th, and the 16th. And it seems that when Mr. Kritz elected to make a motion to increase the salaries of the council, which he would benefit from, you as well as the mayor, to the 30-some-odd thousand dollars, I don't understand, you know, why one would do that. And I don't think Mr. Kritz is going to answer the questions, but I'll try. Mr. Kritz, do you believe that you as a council member work harder than a school board member?
Council President, is this appropriate discussion?
Is it?
I don't think it is,
You're
Mr.
recognized,
Kritz. I'm
Mr.
gonna
Salberg.
advise
I got my
you.
5 minutes.
Everybody just needs to ignore him for 5 minutes. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
And we have the zoning board that don't get paid. We have planning boards that don't get paid. We have volunteer firemen that don't get paid. And they do a heck of a lot of work, more than I could ever do. And even when it comes to life savings, and they don't get anything for it. They do it for the pure enjoyment of helping people. And it seems to me that you wanted to increase your salary by 60%. And then you have the others that you wanted to increase as well with no justification. Like, what do you do more? What do you feel that the council does more than those other entities that I had mentioned that don't get paid? Now, the other thing is we have this public safety director. There are not many that I am aware of in Morris County with the public safety director. I believe Boonton and Morris Township. Now, we know that Dover had taken the public safety director out of there. We know that the mayor's friend was looking for that position. It didn't get that position. And now we're creating a potential opening for our budget, our salary ordinance here to include that public safety director. Now, if many of you recall, I asked the mayor about any conversations. He says, no, I didn't speak about it, but yet documents show that he did. And then he has this recollection that, oh yeah, well, I'm trying to be preventive or be ahead of the game. And I'm going to put this thing in there so we can move forward on that. Then you heard our own chief say, we don't need a public safety director. And he never even had conversations with the mayor about it. But we're keeping this in there of a potential opening for somebody to take that position of a position that's not needed. So why are we doing all these things moving forward? Are we just making an opening so that we can pat ourselves an additional amount of salary and that we can, maybe the mayor can put his friend and give him a job into a position that we don't even need at the cost of the taxpayers?
Mr. Jackson, can I speak?
No, he's still got time.
Mr. Kritz, can you tell me why you think that we need a raise?
Mr. Kritz, I'll give you your time. Please don't engage him in conversation.
So you have the council president telling you not to have a conversation with me.
There's no point in having a conversation with you, Mr. Kelly.
I just want an answer as to why he wanted to increase those salaries by 30,000, but you don't see that the mayor or the clerk needs a $5,000 increase. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander?
That's a great analogy. All right, your time's up. Mr. Kritz, you're recognized.
Thank goodness.
So I think it's interesting, and normally when I would hope that when somebody in this council makes a motion, that we're able to take an objective look like adults and have a discussion on it, which we did. And then the council voted their piece, and I respect that. When I put in a motion, it's not at the cost of somebody else. So I think that I don't think it's fair to paint that picture. And you say $30,000, and we're talking about the totality of all of the increases that I did, that I made a motion for. We had discussion on it and we voted our piece. There was any period of time between then and now. If you personally wanted an explanation, you could have emailed me, but you wait for a meeting like this to grandstand and, put it out that you're the savior and this is the reason why. If you really truly wanted an explanation, and if, you would have sent me an email.
Just give an explanation.
Yeah, be quiet, Mr. Kelly. You're not recognized. You're out of order.
You know what? Then I would have given you my thoughts. You mentioned about all these other people that you feel work hard, and there's no dispute that we don't think that they work hard. I don't remember, with the exception of the clerk, I don't remember you making a motion to increase their salaries, but you're bringing it up today. But if I missed it, that's fair. What I don't understand is why there can't be just a regular, non-accusatory,
Just answer the.
Be quiet, Mr. Kelly. As usual, chirping in high schooler. Listen, Mr. Kritz, just finish. This is why you can't. This is why.
This is just what's very confusing to me. We would just get so much more done.
I know.
If I'm speaking, I don't interrupt you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I understand how you feel, but the difference is I respect your opinion, and it's just your opinion. Why did I put it in? It was my opinion. It didn't pass. Great. That's how the council works. That's all I have, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you want to be recognized?
Council President, I did. Mr.
You got 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'll be quick. Mr. Kelly keeps bringing up the police director position. He keeps saying that there's communication, there's documentation. I've asked for that documentation 3 times. He has yet to furnish it to me. In the past on other issues, which I can't recall exactly, but over the course of the 2 years, he's made accusations. He says he has documentation. I've asked him to furnish it to me, to give me the documents so I can review them, because I don't know what he's talking about. He has not done that. In terms of the position, this is going to be the 3rd, probably the 4th time that I've explained it. I am not looking to hire a police director at this time. If our chief retires, it could be on the table. It's not something that I'm looking to hire anybody at this particular juncture in time. Once again, it is about planning. I don't know why he keeps bringing up people that I know or may not know. It's a lot of gossip going on, and that's not what we're here for. We're here to do town business. So that's about all I have to say about the police director position. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Freelander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Soba,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Abstain. That's one abstention, one no, 7 yeses. The ordinance is adopted. Next is open to the public. Ms. Seeger, I'll ask you first. Do we have any emails to read or go through?
I don't see any, Council President.
Okay, Ms. Clipperton, you can start going through.
Al Cerullo, Lisa Salberg,
No questions, thank you.
Patricia Degnan,
Patricia Degnan, 88 Valley View Drive. I just wanted to say once again, thank you to the road department. They have done a phenomenal job. Those men and women must be exhausted. My street is black and running, and I know when I first came to this township, it was not that way. My kids used to sleigh ride on the street. That's how long it took them to get through here. But they're here, they're up and down this street. It's so passable. They just do a wonderful job, and they need to be told that they do this wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beckman.
Patrick Egan,
No comment, thank you.
Ron Cleland,
No public comment.
TT, William Degnan,
William Degnan, 88 Valley View Drive. I want to thank the council for taking care of the little explosive issue and the town for taking care of the explosive issue behind Valley View Drive. I really would like to, as a resident of this township for 50 years now, I saw when Peterson was first built. I really would like to see Peterson Field fixed and taken care of. I'm tired of certain people complaining about stuff needing to be fixed. We need roads fixed. We need to upgrade our infrastructure. The mayor has done a wonderful job. Christina has done a wonderful job as township clerk. They have gone over, and the road department goes over and beyond. And so has our attorneys have gone over and beyond what they have needed to do in this township. Because we need stuff fixed. We need stuff upgraded to the 21st century, not 1972, which is basically what most of this stuff looks like. You look at other communities, Dover has a brand new field. Everybody else around us has brand new fields. This council is trying to fix that, except a certain member on this council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Degnan. Is that it?
yes.
All right, Ms. Seeger, do we have any emails that have come in?
No, sir.
Okay. Next are ordinances to introduce. We have O-21-05, an ordinance amending section 54-30-67 entitled RMFO-12 Multifamily Residential Overlay District of Chapter 54 entitled Land Use and Development of the Code of the Township of the Township Rockaway to correct a typographical error. Can I have a motion?
I got a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Jackson, could you just have the clarification of what the introduction, what those typographical errors are so the public know? They don't have our backup data.
Our backup stuff isn't out there, Ms. Clipperton? The support for these ordinances?
The ordinances are published, but there's nothing in addition to the ordinance.
Okay.
Simple request for clarification.
Typographical errors, Mr. Kelly. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
I'm sorry?
I asked the clerk to take the roll call.
You wanna
Councilmember
give a little
Kelly?
clarification so the public know?
You're being asked to vote, Mr. Kelly.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Next is O-21-06, an ordinance amending Chapter 54 entitled Land Use and Development, Section 54-47 entitled Municipal Housing Liaison of the Code of the Township of Rockaway. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yeah.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. We have R21-41 as A, B is R21-42, C is R21-43. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Mr. Kelly, seconded. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. The motion carries. Next, we have appointments. Do we have appointments?
No, we do not.
We do not, right? Okay, so next I'm going to combine old business, new business, and council reports. Every council member will have 15 minutes to go through all 3 items. With that said, just looking at the images, I'm going to go with Mr. Salberg first.
All right. No old business or new business. As far as reports, freeholders meeting tomorrow night. I'll be listening in on Zoom. I didn't see anything directly affecting Rockaway, but still want to be part of it again. Just see if there's anything for us out there. As I'm sure everyone will be mentioning, as Ms. Degnan did, again, weather just keeps trying to, smack us down. Road crew keeps clearing us out. So again, thank you so much for keeping us safe out on the roads. Never a moment where I didn't think that we were doing everything we can to keep the roads clear. Again, for supposed to be a nice weekend. Make sure to get out to the farmers market. Hopefully, we're finally breaking the weather. And I think finally, we're seeing some wonderful declines in COVID. Unfortunately, Morris County is being a little stubborn. So again, keep up your guard as well as your mask. Stay safe. But hopefully, we're getting through this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next be Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. Once again, I just wanted to commend the road crew and the amount of plowing and salting that they have had to do and the hours that they endure. I definitely understand, and good job on that. And that's about it today.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Friedlander.
Okay, I had to unmute. Okay, no business, new business. I'll just give a couple things I want to bring up. Library, we had our library meeting last night. I mentioned a while back that the children's room is going through some construction, which definitely be a plus, and that should be done in 3 weeks. Virtual programs are a success. All the children and their parents really like what the library has been doing. They also were in contact with the mall. The mall contacted the library and they have some space available. And right now they're in discussion of possibly doing something with the library in the mall to attract a bigger area for our main library. And also with what's going on with COVID, the next phase starts March 1st. So if anybody's interested, the capacity can go up to 10 in the library, and they're adding 2 more computers. Right now, it's only 2, which used to be space for usage an hour apart. They're bringing it down to 45 minutes, and then they have 2 more computers open, and that's for the library. Everybody else is just not having any meetings right now. It's obvious. I just want to. Last Saturday, I was driving by in the morning, and I passed White Meadow Lake Clubhouse. I saw some fire equipment there, so I pulled over and walked down to the water. I just want to tell you, we are so lucky to have these people with our fire companies. They were doing training with the open water, pulling people over the ice, into the water, out with their water gear. And other companies are doing it. They're joining in. So there is no lax in case somebody can't make it. There's always coverage. It's just unbelievable. You got to see these people in action. And I just want to commend Rockaway Township fire companies, all of them, for participating in this lake rescue operation. Let's see. I think that's it. They mentioned the farmers market. Talked to the guy that's running it. We had more people, more vendors there. Hopefully, with the warmer weather, he anticipates a bigger operation. And you got to get there early, otherwise you don't get your pickles. Anyway, that's it for my reports.
Okay. Mr. Kelly?
I got a couple of things. I think the first thing I'll start off with was, I guess you want to consider it old business because you read it in the record earlier. Mr. Jackson, you wrote a letter on the 23rd of today, and you sent it to us around 3:16 p.m. At any time when you were reading or writing this letter, did you ever consult with our clerk in regards to minutes and the responsibilities of a clerk and preparation of minutes before you wrote this and sent it out to all of us? Mr. Jackson?
I'm not here to answer your questions, Mr. Kelly.
Okay, you probably didn't. But maybe you can help me out too. When you were writing this, because I researched your memorandum that you had here, could you point me in the code that allows you to have power and control over the clerk that literally trumps any of the provisions that she falls under 40, 69A 38, 40, 9A 133, or maybe our own code 2-6.5, or maybe over under the Open Public Meeting Act, we have 10:4-14. Have you looked at any of that, Mr. Jackson, before you wrote what you wrote?
I understand what you just said. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly, keep talking.
Obviously, because you didn't review any of that, because nothing in any of those statutes allows the council president to tell the clerk how to draft minutes. You know, back in the last year in February, when we had some budget meetings, you wouldn't let the clerk put certain stuff in there because it affected you and what you did and what you said. And now you're talking about these verbatim recordings that are in here when the clerk is just following the tutoring that she received from taking courses and classes in order to receive her RMC certificate. Mr. Jackson, do you hold an RMC certificate? Mr. Jackson? You don't. I did a search of a certificate and I don't see that you have it there. The other thing on this letter that you have here, you have definitions. You have old business, new business, and council reports. Where did you find those definitions in our code, Mr. Jackson, or are those your own definitions? Because I couldn't find them in the code. You didn't cite that section under 2.5.7. So where in the code were those definitions so we can determine what old business, new business, and council reports are? Mr. Jackson?
Are you going to do anything to help the township?
I'm just asking you. You wrote a letter.
Are you going to do anything? I'm asking you a question. Are you ever going to do
You're
anything to help
interrupting
the
me.
township?
I didn't yield my time.
Asking me questions. I'm answering you. I'm answering your question.
You're all right. I'm asking you, where in the code, because you're writing this memo, obviously you're angry when you wrote it. You're putting in
You got that out of reading that? You're
you put in there old business, new business, and council reports. So where are the definitions? I mean, I love that the comical laugh that you have is trying to camouflage your lack of information or knowledge.
Dr. Phil.
But under A, B, and C, where did you find the definitions for old business, new business, and council reports?
Do something to help the township, and I'll answer your question.
Well, how are you writing a memo for us to follow and directing the clerk when you have no authority to direct the clerk? And especially when it comes to minutes, that is her objective or his objective, depending on the clerk. You have no authority to tell that person what to write and how to write it. And
I'm sorry if I confused you. I'm sorry if I confused you.
Well, it's not. This thing is so ambiguous when it comes to
sorry
what
if I
it is.
confused you.
You obviously did no research when you wrote this.
No,
But
I
the other
confused
thing,
you,
Mr.
obviously.
Jackson, when it comes to you reference about meetings being online and other records of that. Once the minutes are recorded, they're only available for 90 days and they can be destroyed under the record retention. So they're gone. So when you want the clerk to put something very small and minuscule in here because of something that you may have said, incorrectly or inadvertently or purposely to create harm towards somebody, you feel that the record that there's going to be there from the YouTube video or recording that we have here is forever, but it's not. It's not required to be. So why wouldn't you have originally have consulted with the clerk before you wrote this? You didn't have any definitions to reference because there are no definitions in our code or any of those statutes that fall under the governing of the clerk. So you wrote something just from the hip.
And I was angry, don't forget.
You were very angry when you wrote.
I was angry. I was incredibly angry.
Well, why would you put wrong information in there intentionally without doing any research to actually support what your claims and statements are in here for the governing body to follow when you have no authority to do that? That's just a waste of time. And the sad thing is you probably did it on your employer's time when you wrote it.
Do you have anything productive to help the township?
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear it. I can't wait.
The next thing is here, and I appreciate your sarcasm.
Why don't you stop already?
Mr. Kritz brought up the defibrillator at a couple of meetings ago. And when we were talking about defibrillators, Mr. Kritz was aware that one of them wasn't working for a period of time. I'm not sure when, but we haven't had sports that have been taking place where that defibrillator was located. Under the statute that we have, under 2A 62A 25, we have a mandatory plan for maintaining the defibrillators to make sure they're in working condition. And then there's the placement and everything else that goes on there. And Mr. Kritz now had put money into the budget, or not, they found money to get more defibrillators, which is a great thing that Mr. Kritz did. But do we have a plan in place? Because if he reported that we had a bad defibrillator from months ago, what have we done to resolve those issues or potential issues moving forward? Do we need to develop a plan so that we can maintain those things and follow up on them when they're not functioning or they're broken or missing? And the new ones that he was talking about, I believe that there were 17 of potential purchases. Where were they going to be placed so they're accessible for when there are sports programs or the public that are surrounding there, that one can actually use it in the event that there's an emergency where it's needed? So I don't think that's comical. I just think it's moving forward. He mentioned about buying 17 of them. but I didn't hear about another plan following that and what we need to make sure that we maintain them, because obviously we haven't maintained one that we're aware of from Mr. Critz telling us. Do we have any plan in place?
I think that falls under the administration, not the council.
Well, we're talking about spending money and creating a plan. It's just because it's an administration, Mr. Mayor, there's no reason why you couldn't answer that question. Nothing, okay. The other thing here, and I know that the mayor has always cited 4069A 37, and then point 1. Mr. Mayor, could you provide me with a report of the attorney bills for, now get your pen and paper, C-100-18. And then there was also an appeal of that case where at the time Mayor Salberg used taxpayers' money to assist his wife's appeal that was being challenged. Also, we have the Datcherson versus the 5
Send me an
council
email.
members.
Yeah.
We have the Law Division case 1909-18. We have the Law Division 1998-18. We have the Law Division 1922-18. And then we have your case that you lost, that you filed against 5 council members, which was L78-19. And then there's also, well, this is the case where you sued the sheriff back in 16, but I have that coming from the county. I would like to see all the money that was paid to all of the attorneys that were involved for the defense and plaintiffs. And there was even an attorney that had to file suit to get paid because you wouldn't pay. And then there was a settlement following that. So if you can give me all those legal costs associated with that from your case that mimicked Datcherson's case, as well as the Salberg's case, that would be appreciative on that. Did you get all that information, Mr. Mayor?
I'm going to ask you to send me an email with the chronological order of what you want. And
I'll say it again, and you can watch the video. C-100-18.
Please send me an email.
L-1909-18.
I await
L-1998-18. L-1922-18.
Want to say,
Mr. Mayor, please let him finish.
L-378-19. And then again, the L-487-16. I gathered that from the county.
It's like the Hindenburg. Go ahead. You got 5 minutes left, Mr. Kelly.
The one question I had, maybe Mrs. Palmieri can help us with the budget. We had our last budget meeting on February 16th. Though the budget hasn't been approved, but yet we've had that conversation that we were taking place during those budget hearings. Any of the money that's in the budget right now of whatever action that we took place, can we act upon that right now? Can we use that money and spend it, or we have to wait until it's introduced and adopted?
Right now, what we have is a temporary budget that we're working off of.
Okay, so those changes that we made in that particular budget, we can't do anything other than what's in a temporary budget?
In terms of spending money, that's
Yes.
correct. Yes, you can only spend what's in the temporary budget at this point.
The salary for the assistant superintendent for water, is that in a temporary budget?
The temporary budget does not list specific salaries. It's just simply basically simple math. It's a quarter of last year's budget that's appropriated for the departments. It's not in a specific line for a specific individual.
So how does that individual, since we haven't approved that budget, why weren't they working beforehand rather than the day after our last budget meeting?
I'm not responsible for when they have a start date. I don't know.
Okay. But they can work then and get paid when the budget hasn't been approved, when we didn't have that line item in the budget with any monies that were set aside.
No, the monies were set aside with the temporary budget, which is 0.25% of last year's adopted. So there were monies to pay salary and wages in the water department.
No, I know that, but we didn't have the salary and wage of that particular position for the last 5 years.
Again, we had the funds to pay for the person because we had 0.25% of the last year's budget to pay for salaries. It doesn't matter which position it was.
Regardless of us voting on it or not, and it not being there before.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you very much for the snow removal for the county and for our the public works and all the recreation and water guys. On the end of Robin Street, maybe Mrs. Ferrante can assist me with this. at the end of Robin Street where it comes to Kings Road, as you're going up the hill and coming towards Kings, it'd be the last house on the right. There is a communication line that's been down for the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of caught in the shoulder. It goes across the egress and ingress of driveways that are accessible to homes, and then it follows its way to the corner of Kings Road. It looks like the plow has kind of dug it up before. There's some cones that are around it, but I don't understand why there's a communication cable laying on the ground from between the telephone poles and with cones around it. It almost seems that it could be a potential accident to happen there. The other question I have is, I'm sorry, Mrs. Fronte, did you want to comment on that?
Council President.
You can be recognized. Go ahead.
All right. I was not aware of this, although we will look into that.
Thank you so much. It was just one of the persons up there that pulled me aside when they were questioning that. Do we have any dates when we're going to potentially have in-person meetings like some of the other municipalities are starting to move forward to? Council President?
I was going to wait probably to the, to the end of March. I mean, I think we'll talk about it over the next few meetings and determine when we all feel like it might be safe to get back into the meeting room.
Okay, and then I have one comment and one last question. I saw on the township's Facebook page that we had posted like a snapshot of the plans for the tennis courts and the basketball courts. Just like a regular picture that somebody took and then they posted it on there. Now, I've asked over a course of a large period of time for plans and everything else. In the future, moving forward, would it be possible, maybe the mayor would allow all of us, rather than a selected few, to review plans before our vote of any kind of resolution for a large expenditure? It'd be great, it'd be very helpful. Maybe a cost analysis. You're telling me that these bids had gone out, but Mr. Kritz and Mr. Brooks seem to have some awareness before the resolution was even drafted and put on the agenda, where the rest of us, I know I haven't received the courtesy from that. And I've asked vocally on numerous amount of occasions, and I don't think the council should have to ask for plans before we vote on a large expenditure. Is that possible, Mr. Mayor, to get that information before we have a resolution for any future spending?
Mr. Kelly, can I answer?
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, you're recognized.
Are you going to interrupt me, Mr. Kelly?
If you don't say
He probably
something that's
will,
not
yeah,
correct.
he probably will. I'll just give you a heads up.
I'm just waiting for him to finish so I can speak.
Why don't you just answer me in your reports,
Mr. Mayor?
I'll answer in my
Before we
reports.
know, Mr. Mayor, before you respond, I'm only asking, it's a simple yes or no. Can we get plans like you've given other council members the ability to review prior to the resolution that came out for the expenditure for the $957,000? That's all. It'd be great to have that information and see it actually what we're spending on and what it's going to look like, other than your concept plan that we saw a while ago that copied Mr. Brooks's plan. So it's just a simple question. Are you going to give it to me or are you not?
Okay, Mr. Kelly, your time is up. Mr. Kritz, you're up.
Okay, sorry, I had to find the mute button there. So as far as the basket, I know you mentioned me and Mr. Brooks. I just sent an email to administration asking them for the information and I got it. To speak to the defibrillators, the one at Peterson Field, I was incorrect. The one at Peterson Field is operational and it was never non-operational. And I just want to bring up that, and I appreciate you giving me the credit for the 17 defibrillators, but the truth is I brought it up. We all get credit. As a council, we all voted on it. We worked with the administration, and we all made it happen. So it's not mine, it's not yours, it's not anybody else's. It's all of us doing something positive for the town. And I know, and I don't want to speak for Ms. Seeger, but I know she did mention as far as to the question about maintenance and the plan, that's all part of Mr. Coward's world. He is working on it. There will be an extensive plan. There is some kind of maintenance ongoing that I think in 2 years, will be absorbed within his budget. Again, I don't want to misspeak. So if there's, if you wanted to email Ms. Seeger, she could give you the particulars, but I had the same questions as you did. I had the same concerns as you did. And those are all being addressed by Mr. Carrot. It's part of his responsibilities. Moving on to a couple other things, again, commending the road crews. As always, I feel like we should have a special part of every meeting where we all just commend the road crews. They do a fantastic job. Lacrosse starts this weekend. I know that they had a parent meeting, during this call. I am very much looking forward to getting some of my kids involved. We have all the equipment, we're ready to go. So I'm very, very happy that, with the absence of a season last year, we can move forward. This year, I know that they are still light some players. I'm sure that they would, and forgive me if I'm misspeaking, for the lacrosse people, but I'm sure some people, there would still take some signups to fill out those teams a little bit more. Copeland PTA is having a dine and donate at RJ's on 46. Anything you buy at RJ's through the next couple of days, I think the 26th or 27th, 20% goes back to the school PTA. So a good cause there. We're all ordering out anyway. And then the last thing I have is I have some time this week to start formally putting together the sponsorship committee that we spoke about for Peterson Field. More to come on that. I'm very, very excited for some of the things that we're going to be doing, and hopefully raise some money to go back to our rec kids. So more to come on that as that develops. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Noon?
Yes, just like everybody else, just wanted to commend the road crews, doing a great job. Hopefully this snow will stop soon. And just the farmers market. I know everybody loves it, and it's going to grow. I know Manny loves it. But yeah, looking forward to that.
You do
growing.
good.
I do, yes. But looking forward to that growing and bringing in some people to the mall. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Quinn?
Yes, thank you. First, the DPW does a phenomenal job. They've always done it, and God bless them and their families for the time that they have to put in. The recreation, there's signups going on right now for the spring sports, lacrosse, softball, baseball. Please look and sign up so that they can get more people involved and coaches. It's very important to get coaches. The planning board last night, we approved a variance over on Union Turnpike so that it's a minor subdivision for a house. And we also approved P.F. Chang Restaurant over at the mall. They're coming into the mall, and I'll let the mayor in his report finish that out. But the mall is trying to revive itself. It's looking much better than I thought it was ever going to look. And again, everybody, please be safe, be smart, wear your masks, and we'll get through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Vice President Sackett?
Council President, not much to report on. Ditto with everybody else. Road crews, phenomenal job. Continued. Hopefully that'll be the last of it. The farmers market has been, I feel they've been doing a great job every time I've attended. They have gotten new people in there, new trucks, new vendors. So it seems like it's growing every time. So hopefully soon, it'll be even bigger once the weather starts getting better. We also, Mr. Quinn had mentioned some sports. Don't forget also about soccer. They're still as well taking signups as well. And we have the Citizen Rec meeting coming up this Tuesday, March 2nd. Purim starts for everyone celebrating. Purim starts on Thursday night. So all celebrating Purim. I want to wish Hag Purim Sameach to all celebrating. And That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, could you give us a list of the
Real
vendors?
quick, hey, Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. Please be quiet.
Just a list of vendors?
Mr. Kelly, please be quiet. You're not recognized.
Just a list.
So, oh my gosh, could you be more childish? Please stop. Please stop. You're not recognized. You had 15, 16 minutes to speak. This is unbelievable. So first, before we start, Mr. Quinn, I think you mentioned about coaching. I think there's going to be a Rutgers clinic coming up soon. Maybe on our next meeting, I'll be able to give an update. Coaches in Rockaway Township need to take that class to be able to coach. So I believe there's a clinic coming up in the near future, and it'll be a limited number of people. I'm going to address a couple things. Mr. Kelly spoke for 16 minutes, and again, I asked him to say things that added value to the community, and he just didn't. So I can tell you this, you know, Ms. Clifford, if you have a problem with anything I asked you to do around the minutes, you know, you can certainly tell me. I don't think you do. The Rutgers class is going to be on March 4th.
You didn't even ask her.
Everybody wants. The other thing is, I think you will find the records will show, if you ask Ms. Clifton, I've never asked for any of the minutes to be changed. There's only one person on the council that has, and that's Mr. Kelly. He's the only one that ever wants things changed. So it's kind of self-serving. And most of the things that he says are self-serving. He's certainly spiraling out of control at this point. He's interrupting people at any chance he gets. He's made at least a half a dozen false accusations and statements tonight that are just beyond belief, and he just continues to do it over and over, and it's very sad, and that's why I wrote the memo. You know, we need to run business. We need to treat shows like professionals. You know, no one member of the council should feel concerned about making a motion that for the next 5 meetings they're going to be chastised and talk poorly about because they made a motion. It's just very sad that's, you know, the type of behavior you epitomize in your meetings, in these meetings, and in your life. And it's very sad for the township of Rockaway and for the people of Rockaway. And hopefully we can move past this. So with that said, before we go to the mayor's reports, Mrs. Seeger, Ms. Palmieri, did you happen to dig into that 50,000 at all and figure out where you can get it from?
Miss Palmieri and I have been talking. It wasn't an easy task, but I think we have come up with something. So Ms. Palmieri, can you please tell Mr. Jackson?
Sure. We focused on 3 line items. The first one, and I'm just going in order of the books that you have. The first one is police overtime. It's on page 68. We're proposing to reduce that by 20,000. We think that with the additional officers, we should be able to stay within that revised budget. The second line is on page 120. It's for condo service reimbursements. We've reviewed that again, and looking at the history, it's kind of hard to tell on that budget page because, like I said, those reimbursements occur in the following year. So we feel we can also cut that by 20,000. The last line we looked at was diesel fuel. This is on page 176. Again, looking at history and the gas prices, we should be able to cut that by 10,000. So those 3 line items will add up to the 50.
Thank you, Ms. Seeger and Mrs. Palmieri.
Council President, can I follow up with a question?
No, you're not recognized. You're not recognized. You're done talking.
Council President.
You're not recognized. Mr. Mayor, you could do your report now.
Thank you, Council President. I want to point out something. I want the council, the public who are watching or who are involved with the town to dismiss Mr. Kelly's corrosive behavior. It continues meeting after meeting. We need to start focusing not on his mistruths, his optics that he's trying to put out, and using these council meetings as a bully pulpit to not do any council business or not follow the agenda, but to try to throw disparaging remarks, make people look bad, belittle, and bully. We need to dismiss that because we're doing a lot of great stuff. I'm going to talk about P.F. Chang's. We had a planning board meeting last night. P.F. Chang's was on the agenda 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and it was coming to Rockaway. The corporation had pulled out. The plan is now back in front of us, so we hope that it'll come to fruition. We feel confident that it will come to fruition. I'm not going to get into the mechanics of what was changed as far as the architectural designs, but it's a great business to have. It'll be near the Cheesecake Factory, right on the other side. So that's going to bring some revenue to town. It's going to help the mall, kind of reinvent themselves as we've been talking about. I want to say that Mr. Kritz, I appreciate your efforts also with the AEDs and your clarity on the issue. Mr. Kelly obviously didn't understand when he said they were not operating. He tried to paint an optic that things were not working when they were. He doesn't know. Obviously, it's just words that are thrown out that are not truthful. So I appreciate your input and helping us with that, as you are being so involved in sports. A project that I'm working on now, I try to stay ahead of the curve a little bit. Adam Salberg last year had brought up that ordinance, had brought to the table the ordinance with for the northern end of town, for the sixth ward, with the lakes and the natural resources. So what I did over the past couple of months, we hope to have it done sooner than later, just in time for spring. I'm working with Brian Coward, our recreation director, and our town planner, Dave Novak. We're trying to enhance the website to get some topography maps, to get some links that we're going to put in and update that are going to showcase the beauty that Rockaway has, the natural hiking trails, different things that the Sixth Ward offers, that, more where we have more open space, as well as Peterson Field in certain areas down in the southern end of town. So I'm trying to put together something. We've been working on it for a while. I actually met with Brian today. We're going to get something up. We hope that that's going to have a positive impact on, folks who come to visit our website, folks who want to move here, that it's going to, even for residents who have been here for a while, who don't get a chance to travel, who want to hike, who want to get outdoors, especially now with COVID. Outdoor activities. That's why Peterson is also important at this time. We had planned on doing Peterson prior to COVID, but it makes it even that much more important to get kids outside, to get people exercise. So I think that's a nice marriage right now, trying to update that website. We're going to have Peterson very soon. The weather's starting to turn. We should have our basketball courts and tennis courts over the next couple months starting. So there's a lot of good things that are going on. Yes, Jonathan and Mr. Kelly, we are looking at a dog park at some point. It's just we've been, quite frankly, I don't like to keep mentioning the lawsuits, but whenever you take away funds and time from the administration to deal with nonsense, because that's what I feel it is, that's my opinion of it, it's going to cause us to not be able to do our work and to do things that benefit the taxpayers. But we are pushing through. This council is pushing through. Forget about any corrosive behavior that you see. We're doing good things. Thank you.
Thank you. Township Attorney, do you have a report? Other than what you've said?
No report, Council President.
Okay, before we go to Mrs. Seeger's report, she pointed out to me, because we want to introduce the budget the next meeting, I am going in accordance to build on to what was just discussed. I'm going to make a motion to, and I'll go through this slowly, Chrissy, so you write it down, to reduce the police overtime budget line item by $20,000, to reduce the condo service reimbursement budget line item by $20,000, and to reduce the diesel fuel budget line item by $10,000 in order to fund the $50,000 increase in the legal line item, which is 0120-155-028.
Council President, discussion on that?
No. Did you get all that, Chrissy, or?
Wasn't that done before in our budget?
Clerk, you could take the roll call.
Did we have a second?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody like to second the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Thanks. Clerk, you could take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
How can Mr. Quinn second it when his son-in-law was a cop? I abstain.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 abstention. Motion carries. Next, Mrs. Seeger, do you have anything you want to report?
I would like to thank everybody for doing a great budget job. We appreciate all your support, and I think that the staff has worked hard on the budget, and it looks like we're going to move forward. So thank you all for your support, and if you need anything, reach out anytime. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ferrante,
No comment.
Mr. Dyer,
No comment, Council President.
and Ms. Palmieri.
Yes, I just wanted to add, we do intend to introduce next meeting. However, if we don't receive our state aid figures by then, we may have to wait until the end of
Okay,
March. Just wanted to bring that up.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Again.
Why not?
all in
Second
favor?
that.
Okay, have a good night, everybody.
Good night,
Take care,
all.
people.
Bye.
Go to the farmer's market. You'll know how many people are there.